For some reason, I'm always on the wrong side of things. I had a Betamax. Then I got VHS. I was a Mac guy in the 80s and 90s, even in the 2000s. Fun story, 1997, I heard Steve Jobs was coming back, and I bought stock. I told everyone, buy stock. And people went, it's Apple, are you crazy? And then Steve Jobs came back, and the stock fell. I bought more. My wife is. Then, climb, 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 split, climb, 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 split. So my initial investment went from having a few shares to having a lot of shares. I actually, I did okay. The reason I mention this is, as you know, I'm big into superheroes. I enjoy comics, DC Comics mainly. And everyone says, well, you're a Batman fan, aren't you? Nope. Robin. So, I've been collecting comics since I was 8 years old, so you do the math, mid-70s. I read them before that, but I started collecting them in the mid-70s, so I have some really classics. I have Giant Size X-Men #1, I have some really, really great issues. 1980, October 1980, is when they re-released the new Teen Titans. The new Teen Titans, well, the Teen Titans were a group of sidekicks, so you had Robin and Speedy, who worked with Green Arrow, and Kid Flash and Wonder Girl. And then they decided in 1980 to revamp it. So you had Marv Wolfman as the writer and George Perez as the artist, although to be fair, they were both writing it. This series was amazing. It's amazing. Even great stories where they didn't have really any superhero stuff in it. The characterization was just fantastic. One of my favorite ones is issue 38, Who is Donna Troy? There's, I think, Dick Grayson's in costume like for 3 panels. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. It's amazing. So when that came out, I always identified with Dick Grayson. He was always a great character. The way that he was written. Most people think Dick Grayson, they go, oh, holy whatever Batman from the 60s show. And that wasn't really the character. The character had a long time to really define his standing. And other than the fact that he wore, short shorts and pixie boots, he was a good character. He was a man standing on his own. And then when we got into 84, when they decided to let's go on, and Batman editorial said, we need another Robin. Dick Grayson's too old now. He's 19. He's too old. We can't have him as the fun-loving sidekick. And that got us then Jason Todd, which, yeah, not even going to bother going there. So Dick Grayson graduated to Nightwing, which was a character that was a character in Kandor lore. Someone that even Kal-El had portrayed when he was in Kandor. A whole other story there. But Nightwing was a great character. And then over time, as Crisis came and went, they changed it so that he was a more prominent character, like an outsider in his own family and all stuff. But Nightwing was a fantastic character. So I did say in my previous videos about my collections, I'll show you my Dick Grayson collection. So I can show you a few things that I've made and purchased. Now, there's one good thing that came out of the Batman and Robin movie. And it wasn't a bad movie, and I like Chris O'Donnell. I think he was a great actor. He did what he could with the character that they wrote for him. His Robin was pretty good. One thing that came out, though, in the collectible characters, there was a character called Ice Skate Robin. Ice Skate Robin was fantastic because it was basically a bare-bones character. Now, if you are a figure customizer, you want something bare-bones, less to cut off. So what I'll do is I'm going to show these. I'll also put them here to see them better. So what I did with this character, I found everyone I could. Every single one I could, I grabbed one. So I made, hard seeing this light, Disco Nightwing, and then Flying Wing Nightwing, and then this costume stayed pretty much the costume for, well, his entire run, 130 issues, or 130 issues of his original series before we had everything fall apart with the New 52 and everything else. DC Collectibles also came out with some great figures. They had this one, which is just an amazing figure from the new Teen Titans line. And then we had you know, Disco Nightwing. And then this is from the Nightfall series. Again, better pictures over here. So for me, especially when I was still collecting comics, it was Blue Beetle Comics in Barrie, where I am living now. It's now Big B because it was sold. But it was funny because the guys who worked there were like, oh, hey, we got some Nightwing figures in. One for Dave Porter and one for everyone else. And at one point he walked in, they had one that said, a little sticky note, Dave Porter, please buy me. And I did. Because I love the character. I really love the character. He's the epitome of the superheroes. Everyone likes him. Everyone, you know, much like people say about in the 80s, Tom Selleck as an actor. Men want to have a drink with him, women want to sleep with him. Dick Grayson is that sort of character. Everyone wants to be friends with him. They all know him. And, you know, and the chicks all want him. Even as recent as when he did Grayson, Agent of Spiral, all the chicks are always just, you know, salivating after him, which that's not, you know, well, that's not why I'm after them. But anyway, he was a character who we saw grow up. You know, Superman's always 33, Batman's always 34. But we saw Dick Grayson as a kid, and then a teen, and then a young adult, and then graduate on to be his own. And even then in the comics back in the 2010s, when the Justice League disappeared, Nightwing was brought in to lead the new Justice League to find them, and he was just did such a very capable job of doing it. It's just like, well, we knew you could do it, but we all listened to you because you have the right thing to say. So anyway, let me just show you quickly my collection of dicks. I do this with my kids sometimes. They say, hey, I sent you a dick pic. They go, oh, God, Dad, no. And it's a picture of, you know, various Dick Graysons just because it's a dad joke. So that's Friday's video. I just want to talk a little bit about that. You know, I really enjoy the character Dick Grayson. He's had this great growth. His name is so out of date now. Like, who in 2000 or 2020 goes by Dick? Who in the 10s or 0s or 80s or 90s goes by Dick? Very, very 40s, 50s, 60s name. But they tried a little bit. They've had a terrible, terrible storyline in the last 2 years in the Nightwing comic. It's like, and I'm reading now that issue 75 is going to finally wrap it up. And that's 4 more issues. I was like, can you please just, Anyway. So in the comics right now, they're trying Rick, because he can't remember who he is. I'm Rick. No, I'm sorry, you're Dick Grayson. That's the video for the day. Hope everyone is having a good time. Up here in Canada and Ontario, I've just, my area's opened up into stage 3, so restaurants can have 50 people, outdoor can have 100 people. You still can't go to the bars. We can, well, not like I would, but you can't go to a bar. You have to sit down and order the drink, and the waitress will bring it to you, but that's neither here nor there. I don't go to bars. That's it for the day. I will see you all on Monday.